Hello music fans, welcome to the Death by Unicorn channel where we talk about metal, rock, and prog music, and this is what's new in 2024, where I talk about new albums that came out over the past week. And then a lot of you might think that nothing good comes out in December, but I'm going to talk about some 4 albums that came out all on December 6th that I listened to and give you my quick first impressions of them. I'll talk about them in my order of preference, starting with the band WIZRD and their album Elements. So the band name is WIZRD, so it's like wizard without the A. And this is the second album by this Norwegian band. It's progressive rock. I'm going to put it in my very good tier. None of the releases from today quite made my excellent, near masterpiece or masterpiece tier, but this is still a very good album. For fans of King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, for fans of Motorpsycho, it's got an old school psychedelic prog rock sound to it and great musicianship. I like the track that just is called, it's 3 exclamation points. That's a great instrumental that shows their chops. And then National Day is also a great track. Check it out if that sounds good to you. It's WIZRD and Elements. Next up on my list is Antony Kalugin with Constellations. This is the 9th solo album by this Ukrainian artist. And he's also released many under different project names like Carphagin, and I think one of the other ones is Sunchild, if I remember correctly. And this is instrumental symphonic progressive rock. I'm putting this in my very good tier as well. So Antony Kalugin is a great keyboard player who I'm most familiar with for his work under his Carphagin project. I've been listening to some of that stuff, which is all very good stuff. He's one of the best modern progressive rock keyboard players at the moment, in my opinion. And I feel like everything he makes is very good, but I just haven't heard anything from him that I'd consider near masterpiece or masterpiece level. It's all very much inspired by the past 70s symphonic prog. Still great, but I was hoping he'd bring in some more experimentation on this one, take some more risks. I was hoping there would be some guest vocals. But the first track that I heard ahead of release was instrumental, but I tend to prefer vocal music. For people who like instrumental music that's keyboard focused, I think this would be a great album to listen to. If I recall correctly, after 2 listens, I think this whole album was instrumental. It kind of washes over me, so it's hard to really remember, and I've only listened to it twice, but I remember it being all instrumental. Maybe there's an ooh or an ah in there somewhere, but not really lyrics. And it has more of this electronic ambient vibe to it, a bit of classical music vibes in there too, but it mostly retains his signature sound of instrumental symphonic progressive rock. Check it out. Check out Antony Kalugin. If you're a fan of Mike Oldfield and Rick Wakeman of Yes, it's kind of like a mix of those two with the occasional guitar lead that reminds me of David Gilmour of Pink Floyd. Some parts even sounded like a Porcupine Tree when it got really into the electronics. It sounded like Porcupine Tree doing their electronic sound. If that sounds interesting to you, check out Constellations by Antony Kalugin. Third one I want to talk about is a compilation of covers. It's called Aqualung Redux. It's Jethro Tull's album Aqualung, covered by different bands doing each track. So it's a multinational collaboration, different bands from different countries, and of course it's progressive folk rock with hard rock influences, but some of these bands even put an interesting spin on some of the tracks. Some do like a cappella, and some lean like almost to metal, and it almost sounds like a prog metal version of, maybe not so far to like extreme, they don't go extreme metal, but the riffs, the guitars sound chunkier than on the original. Some of the bands included on this reimagining are Motorpsycho and The Sword. If you're a big fan of the original Aqualung album, you should definitely listen to this. It'll be a fun listen, but obviously this isn't going to be as good as the original. It's just a nice tribute where the songs are done in a much more modern way. Some of them are done with crunchy guitars, making them sound more metal. The opening track, the title track, is done in an a cappella way, which is neat. So if that sounds interesting to you, check out Aqualung Redux. And last one on this video for today is Cameron Winter and his album heavy metal. I forgot to mention Aqualung Redux. I'm putting in my good tier. Didn't quite make it up to very good. For Cameron Winter, Heavy Metal is the name of the album, but it's not a heavy metal album at all, so don't let the name deceive you. This is the debut solo album by Cameron Winter, but he was in a band. He was the vocalist of the band Geese. And this is alternative rock. It's got some post-punk, indie rock, art rock influences. It's kind of singer-songwriter, but it also sounds very modern and almost slightly avant-garde. This was recommended to me in the comments of one of my videos by Andrew Budd, so thanks for the recommendation there. And if anybody has recommendations for me, always leave them down below in the comments. It's very likely I will check them out. So I listened to the early single, $0, and the vocals sound wild. That's probably my favorite track on the album. The vocals sounded like a bit like Jordy Greep from Black Midi mixed with Tom York from Radiohead mixed with Nick Cave. They actually kind of remind me of my friend Nick Frenette a little bit, who is also a musician. So check him out if you're looking for some good underground musicians. It's an interesting album with some interesting songs, but the vocal style, he goes a bit too much for me. It's very melodramatic. I couldn't quite put this up into the very good tier, so I just put it in my good tier. But I think Cameron Winter is creative. It sounds interesting. The songs are well written, and people who like this kind of alternative post-punk indie art rock will probably like this. Like if you like Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds and Jordy Greep, maybe, except it's not as progressive. It's more simplistic, but it's still out there at the same time. So that sounds good to you. Check out Heavy Metal by Cameron Winter. And that's it for my first impressions of these 4 albums that came out on December 6th. What do you think of these albums? Let me know down in the comments. And is there anything that came out recently that you think I might enjoy in the metal, rock, and prog world, or even in some adjacent genres? I would do exploring other genres as well. Stay tuned for the next video. I'm not exactly sure when it'll drop, but I'm going to start doing some year-end top 10s in various genres. I listened to a lot of genres this year. I listened to, progressive rock, progressive metal, metalcore, post-hardcore, indie rock, alternative rock, art rock, black metal, technical death metal, melodic death metal, power metal, jazz fusion, hard rock, post-rock, pop rock, punk rock, psychedelic rock, electronic, and so on. So I'll probably have some of my top picks in each of those genres. I might not do all of them, but I feel like, if I make a video for each genre, then people who are fans of that genre can then watch it, and that might be a better video for them than just my top 25. But I do plan to also make my top 25 of the year across all genres. So those are the videos you can expect from me in the next month or so. Hit that subscribe button if you like metal, rock, and prog music, and stay tuned for next time. Peace out.